Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer. Tonight, we've got some rock and roll for you. It's Mystic Quest Randomizer for the Speed Gaming Live 2024 tournament. I'm Scar. I'm joined by Fried Potato, and yes, it's spelled phonetically. How are you doing, Potato?
I am excellent. How are you doing this evening, Scar?
I'm excited. We've got a good race on our hands. We've got F versus or
Yeah, it looks
Farfelu versus
like
Sorbius. I mean,
right. Yeah, our good buddy Sorbius, who we both know from the Final Fantasy IV randomizer, coming in and gonna take on Farfelu. It's gonna be exciting. These matches, who knows? So many things can happen. The seed could throw so many different challenges at the runners, and I'm really excited to see what it does and how they tackle it.
yeah, and one of the things we get to know ahead of time for these races is the quests, what we have to do to upgrade our companions. Anything standing out to you for Tristam and Phoebe, Potato?
We'll go over the quests, I guess, so everybody knows. Tristram and Phoebe are our two companions tonight, and Tristram's quests are collect 23 refreshers, clear the mine battlefield. Someone is hiding in the alive forest tree houses, and save the crystal of wind. And I got to say that treehouse one, I love seeing that. You never know which crest is going to be required, so you never know exactly how easy that quest is going to be to unlock.
Yeah, it's a bit of a deceptive one. It's like you need a crest, but you don't know which one. Uh, and then Phoebe's got save the crystal of earth, defeat Squidite, save the crystal of water, defeat Dullahan. One of those bosses is not like the others, and it's Dullahan.
Definitely, I very likely think the other three would be completed before Dullahan, although with Tristram and an early Dragon Claw, Dullahan is pretty free, so we'll see. Start Tristram Bomb's Bone Dungeon in an almost vanilla location. You've got to love that if you're these runners, I think. That's a lot of checks right away that they're going to be able to get out of the way.
It looks like a a mostly easy battle tile for some XP off the bat. Or was 2,700 XP? That's a little more than you needed to get to level 3.
Very nice. Yeah, you can't be too sad about that. And the Phoebe swap is available right away after you do Bone Dungeon with Tristram. So if you don't want to keep Tristram, you don't have to for very long at all. This is so far, with the locations we've seen, a fantastic opening layout. It looks like, yeah, they're both. I expect to see the Bone Dungeon dive soon. Maybe some level grinding in or before it, to make sure they can take on Flamer since they're not going to be able to use life strats.
Oh, and a free sand coin even. This is pretty open to
Interesting,
begin with.
yeah. Yeah, I wonder if either we see Farvalu heading further in. I wonder if Sorbius would ever dip and just go check other places. I don't personally think so, just because Bone Dungeon is fairly dense as far as both brown boxes and checks go. And it is a quest for Phoebe. You could make the swap right afterwards and have a level 15 Phoebe, which, is pretty nice to have.
Yeah, Phoebe's just kind of all around the best companion. Like, sure, Tristan gets exit, but I don't know. Phoebe just feels better to have in the party.
I agree. She comes generally with the healing spells. In this one, she starts with Cure at 7. She'll get Heal and Thunder at 15. She also starts with Fire, so definitely pretty nice. You can swap her to Auto and just let her heal you up. But just having a source of more than just the life spell can be useful for triaging. Interesting. We see Sorbs dealing with this ice pyramid or the Aquaria battle tile up front, and is going to go in with significantly more levels to deal with Flamerus when he gets there. So I wonder if we'll see a particularly difficult flamerous here. So far, not being super nice, that's for sure.
This freebie in the volcano could be a point of divergence if this is, say, the river coin.
For sure. The Libra Crest. Well, that is another check available to Sorbius right away since the Libra Temple's right next door. So he could also stumble upon refreshers here and end up being able to get Tristram to level 15 before even going into the Bone Dungeon, in which case he could use life strats and make this fight that's taking farfelu a little bit take no time at all.
Yeah, I think he's honestly just gonna save some time on the initial having, twice or more HP compared to what Farfelu's going in with, and maybe being able to actually use Benjamin in the fight.
Definitely, as we see Farfelu actually takes a life to flamers. You don't see it a lot, although in these settings, it definitely probably happens more than in most others that we've run. Script Shuffle can throw a lot of things at you, and in this case, yeah, we're looking at 10 levels worth of HP combined. So, any damaging ability is going to dent you pretty hard.
Yep, and there's the bounce for Farfelu. He's having to fight something else, grind a
Yeah,
little bit.
I was wondering if he was going to leave entirely or just go look for some encounter packs because the levels come pretty quick early on in the game. You can get a little bit more HP, without too much extra time devoted. As we see here, he grabbed a level already with one encounter. Will he get another one here? Yeah, so he'll be level 5 now, and that's 200 HP, which, that's significantly more, almost double what he had before, so. It is giving Sorbius all this time to sort of catch up and equalize with the extra check he already has under his belt from Volcano. So
So do you know? So if you have a companion that doesn't have a consumable weapon, what's in those chests that would have like ninja stars or arrows?
I don't know the answer to that. It's been posed to me once before, and I don't. Oh, there you go. It looks like chat's chiming in. Bombs, if you have bombs, that makes sense. Or cure potions would be the default. And that, I think, is what we're going after. If nobody has any consumables somehow, what do those boxes deliver? It looks like maybe we have a question about Tristram quests in chat. We'll go over those again real quick while we're just seeing flamers, and we're going to see flamers on both screens. 23 refreshers, clear mine battlefield. Someone is hiding in the alive forest tree houses and save the crystal of wind. If we had found refreshers on the way in, you'd be looking at this flamer's already being dead probably on both screens by now. But he's definitely putting up a fight. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to give Phoebe her level since that's one of her quests. Yes, chat pointing out the crest can be any of the 3 warps in the forest, which is fantastic. You never know which one it's going to be. Mobius, the required crest, is the easiest one to get to. Both of the others require chopping down a significant number of trees and pathing around. It's going to be very interesting to see if anybody decides to go that far in and hunt for that level quest for Tristram.
Well, it is a shard hunt, so it'll be an opportunity to pick up a couple of shard attempts along the way.
Definitely true. Tree has several shards, and then each tree house has at least a box or two. So yeah, you're gonna be looking at more brown boxes to get all those shards. You need 24 to make the sky coin that you need to go into Doom Castle at the end. Aegis Shield and Multi-Key, interesting. Love is being an Aegis Shield early. Just having a top-tier protective item right away, gives you a little maybe more confidence in taking fights. and definitely gives you the resistances that will help you live through fights a little easier.
Yeah, it's not like forward progress, but it is most certainly progress.
Definitely, and we see right away the swap out. I definitely approve of this. I don't think there's any reason to hold on to Tristan here. You know he'll be in Fireberg waiting for you, and now Phoebe, you've already got her level 15, so she comes with Thunder and Fire, Cure and Heal. So, good kit, some decent HP, and it looks like the Crab may be next on the menu.
Yeah, this is probably doable with just level 15 Phoebe and a sword. Be interesting to see if Sorbius skips over that in favor of, the freebies available to him.
Right, you've got Sandcoin already. I'm sure that's weighing on both runners' mind just to move on and sort of check more areas. But you do like to clear what you have available, generally, at least when it's right in front of you if you can. With Thunder and the Night Sword, even bombs and Thunder, so that you don't risk the miss chance for the swords. Gotta love it. Should make decent work of this crab if he doesn't play too mean.
Well, with Muffle, a ability that simply does not work, getting free turns is, I think, the opposite of mean.
Definitely. So far, not doing really anything of note. A little bit of damage onto the Benjamin there, but should be quick to have some crab legs for lunch or dinner, depending on what time it is.
Lunch is a state of mind, anyways.
I agree. Tree Wither. All right. No progress yet, but definitely something to remember. They're gonna have to make a trek to Kaylee's mom, drop that off, and then find level 4 somewhere. I don't think we've seen either of those locations yet, considering we're still in the starting area. So, it may be a little bit before you can even turn that in. Oh, nice. Yeah, with the elixir as well, now picked up. Once you have access to Foresta, you'll know where you're dropping off those fetch quests. Could be two quick pickups depending on what's available here in the Aquaria region.
And there's Flare. Our runners have power early and very early. This is, they're not going to be lacking for anything. Oh, one of our towns is hiding behind the big water.
I always love to see that. You never know. It'll be a little while before we figure out exactly which one it is. It could be, required Windia, so you've got to find the wake water somewhere. It could be that Foresta gating those two items that we already have, which would be a little sad knowing that you can't turn those in right away.
Yeah, I think the worst case would be if it's a required Foresta behind there, because there's no crest warp into Foresta. But like we've already got the Libra Crest, which two does the Libra Crest connect any of the towns, or is it just Gemini and Mobius?
It is just Gemini and Mobius for the towns. There's a treehouse for the Libra Crest, which we might see at some point, but it doesn't help with any real overworld travel, unfortunately. Oh, there's some
Oh, and there's
refreshers right there.
refreshers. Looks like Sorbs is thinking about keeping Tristram in his back pocket, not completely giving up on the jerk.
I approve. Get him if it's a quick enough quest. Get him ready for exit. If you find Fireberg, you can pick him up to speed up some checks. Especially at this point, they already have flare, so the companion's value, if seeds are available, has decreased a little bit.
Oh, and there is Firebird.
Speaking of seeds, yes, all they need now is money, and if they really wanted to, they could flares and pretty much anything in their path between now and the end game.
And it's the Giant's Axe for sale in Fireburg. Sorbs is going to be able to buy that right away if he wants because he did a money tile.
Very nice. I believe we also saw the river coin for sale in the other town that popped up. So some more potential progression if they can afford it. Backtracking immediately for Farfelu. Where is he heading right now?
He's getting a money
Yes.
tile.
Makes sense. Yes, save you some time. It's definitely bought me or bit me before. Deciding not to take a money tile in the starting area in hopes that there was one in the link, or that I just wouldn't need the money. You know, if all the shops are giving you downgrades or side items that you don't necessarily need like a mask or something, you know, you could luck out and not need to spend quite so much. But this seed is not the one. Twist them giving us the Venus shield. That's fun. Immediate downgrade and useless. So, you know, Sorbs did, I believe, finish out the refresher quest at least. So he does have exits available to him if he were to swap and pick up Tristram. And that could be, you know, a big time save depending on what the rest of the seeds got going on.
Well, he doesn't quite have exit because he would need to do another quest for Trista.
Oh,
It's at
that's
level
true. Yes,
23.
you're correct. Yeah. So you need to find that mine battlefield or whoever's hiding in the treetops. And we've already talked about how tricky that one could end up being. All right,
And yeah,
discount river coin.
that first money tile had enough for both of those items. I think it was the 900 I saw.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that definitely saved Sorbs a lot of time. He didn't have to backtrack and go get it. The fact that he already took it, and since the river coin was part of that, you know, he can just move on once he's checked out what's here. If there's nothing to sort of commit to, which it doesn't look like there is really. Believe so. That means we've seen Fireburg and Aquaria here. Which means that that town could either be Windia or Foresta, which is probably the worst two options for the runners, no matter which one it is. We'll find out soon, since the other one looks like it's the first tile in the River Coin area.
Oh, it's Foresta because there's Windia.
Yep, you called it. So both the Tree Wither and that elixir off the table until they find some way over there. The Wake Water being the only actual way that they can do it. There is no sort of out of logic play they could make, since, as you mentioned earlier, there's no warp into Foresta. So that's pretty exciting, actually.
And it's interesting seeing like the shard routing between the runners so far. Sorbius has been a lot more thorough, trying to grab shards early, and Farfelu has just sort of been gunning the checks themselves. See if it pays out either way.
Definitely, maybe you know, maybe they imagine that since they have to come back to those areas anyway, they'll just do their shards check then. It's definitely something I've thought about, just not checking shards up front in the towns that you know you're going to end up revisiting, because maybe that saves you time. long term, but I haven't quite decided. I tend to, like Sorbius, try to be very thorough up front about my shards. We saw a live tree, which means the Libra chess tree house is on the table. Nobody's gonna head into the tree proper at this point for anything except maybe a few shards, since they don't have, the dragon claw you need to navigate it. But be interesting to see. And I think ice pyramid as well. All right.
Oh, and this is pretty nice for Sorbius. There was a 1 of 1 XP tile. Got him an extra level or two.
Very nice. I love when you get the good value 1 of 1 encounter tiles. I try to take all the 1 and 2 encounter tiles. What do you generally approach the battle tiles with? Do you go for even threes maybe, or do you like to try to avoid them altogether?
I like the 1 of 1s and 2 of 2s. If that could be swayed by if I feel like I'm particularly low level, I might take a 5 of 5.
Definitely. You never know how. I don't know how the randomization works exactly, but the XP rewards, being shuffled around, presumably, you never know how much value you're going to get out of an XP tile. Wow. Dragon Claw. So you can complete ice while you're here, and you have the Dragon Claw, which now opens up a significant portion of the game. We saw Mount Gale nearby. I believe we've already saw Pazuzu's Tower as well. Both of those are now on the table. We did mention the Dullahan and Crystal Wood, both quests for respective companions.
I didn't know those centaurs resisted, or the nightmares resisted fire.
I did not either. I'm still, learning a lot of what enemies resist what weapons or spells. I'm not particularly familiar with vanilla, strategies where a lot of this, runners that have that knowledge potentially have an advantage coming in here, able to quickly use the most optimal option to clear enemies, because there's a lot of just weird resists across the board.
And it looks like both runners. Oh well, wait. They have access to the whole thing. I was just gonna mention the drop down, but they could do the whole thing right now because they have flare. They have the levels for 2 wizard charges to just blow it up.
Definitely, you could just, defense strats if you really need to make sure and clear that ice golem without too much of a problem. Although you bring up a good point, and I wonder if it was on the racer's mind as they came in, because had that first chest not been a claw, the full clearing ice isn't necessarily on the table, but you could still get a claw in the drop down that you typically get at the end of Ice Pyramid, or some runners typically get at the end of Ice Pyramid. Some runners get it 30 minutes later after they forgot about it and had to go back. I believe it's the Noble Armor chest.
Yeah, I wonder who that was. Anyways, I mean, it's interesting. Like when I was learning this game and learning from you and Possum, hearing Possum basically tell me, "Hey, you need to go do this because it's in logic. The game will expect you to do this if you have access to it." Which sort of cemented in my mind that when you go to Ice Pyramid, you should grab the Noble Armor chest. There's also a
It
lot of shards along the way, usually.
Definitely Ice Pyramid, one of the maybe the most dense. I'm not sure. It or Lava Dome have the most brown boxes that can get into the shard shuffle, I believe. And yeah, between the two of them, you're hoping to get plenty. You see several right there on Farfelu's screen. You see walks past. Those are easy to get later on in the room with that aforementioned Noble Armor chest. Yeah, both runners just cruising through here, picking up some quick levels from the encounters. But nothing here, with what they have in their arsenal already. They've got Thunder on Phoebe, and Phoebe already at 15 with the bow and arrow is going to do plenty of work to plenty of these enemies. And if they really want to, they can flare.
And there's life. Flare and life. Two spells you really want for the end of the game. Right in the palm of your hand.
Definitely nice to get those out of the way early. You know that if a go mode sneaks up on you, you don't have to scramble to maybe peek some extra boxes to get those because yeah, you really want to have flare for damage and life for safety. Pretty much in every seed. If you can have those at Dark King, you're happy.
Yeah, I'd say life is often worth like 4 levels of grinding in the average seed.
I would certainly agree. I will not take on Dark King at those pre-20 slots a lot of times if life is off the table, unless my companion is maybe with a 41 companion, or if the game just forces you to, because sometimes stuff is buried really deep in the seed. But you'd prefer, yeah, to have life. If your companion goes down without it, there's nothing Benjamin can do. Boom, boom, just like you said. Blinking, you miss it. Melting Golem, 2 flare casts, defense strats. Just bye bye.
Yeah, it's very satisfying to nuke the ice golem. And there's an axe. No, we already had an axe. We didn't need to buy an axe, which is unfortunate.
That's true. I think, yeah, they bought the Giant's Axe immediately afterwards. They find this battle axe here, not a great reward. It does give Phoebe another level, puts her at 23, which is great. One more once they find and take down Squidite, which I believe we did see Wintry Cave already. They just didn't have a claw when they went in there. Maybe even not. Yeah, didn't have a claw, so couldn't
Yeah.
do it. But now PB 34, pretty quick to get.
Also, that's 5. I think that was 5 shards in the noble armor room. This is this is cracked.
You love to see that. Definitely want to get getting a whole bunch in one area feels nice because you have to just look in so many less places. I believe we saw one or two more while Farfelu and Sorbius were going through ice. It looks like Farfelu is going to skip out on for now. I wonder if Sorbius is going to go back in, or if I was perhaps mistaken and there weren't any off-path peaked boxes.
It's looking like there aren't many. There's at least the one just off to the left of the entrance, which I suspect, which farfelu did grab, and I suspect Sorbius will grab.
We definitely don't want to miss that one. It's so easy to grab. Sorbius managing to run into several invisible enemies in weird spots. Gotta be a little frustrating. One of the reasons I like having the mirror before I come into ice, no matter where it is, just to avoid stuff like that.
Yeah, like, silver lining of running into random enemies that you don't actually want to fight is you can take an opportunity to just, dupe a seed real quick while you're running away.
Definitely, I feel like that is, yeah, the best use of that runaway time. Get an extra seed, especially if you're running low. Which if you've had to spend all your money, or if there haven't been a lot of battle tiles that give you a good cash, or ones that haven't been easy, like in this seed, you could be running pretty low. Now it's time for some calamari. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, but why are half of the enemies in this game edible? It's a crime, really.
Meteor, not the reward you're looking for, but again, does give Phoebe that level 34, gets you white for her. Now, you're rolling pretty strong, not too far away from acceptable Dark King levels, in my opinion. We've already got level 14 and 13 for the runners, so yeah, and Flare already, Flare Life. Aegis Shield, Noble Armor, pretty strong. Not as strong as they could be, but no slouches, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is one where you can maybe just cross your fingers that you'll run into enough required fights that you hit 16 and go for it.
Definitely, that's kind of where I would be at this point. I like to see sort of where I am towards the end of the seed. If I feel like, we're gonna run into enough things to just get those levels anyway, let's just try to avoid the extra stuff. There's so many ways to get around enemies blocking your path to this freebie in a live forest, but this enemy picked the best spot to stand. He knew you couldn't get around him there.
What do our runners have left?
The tree, they have Hydra, they have Dullahan, Medusa, I believe, is also out there still. But not a lot, really. Not a lot that's fun and easy. Oh, also Pazuzu's Tower. So 2 checks in there that don't require fighting a boss at the very least.
Okay. Okay. So they're not on the hook yet.
No, we're still a little bit far from the point where they probably are stressing out about the potential checks left. Although it is getting, smaller and smaller, the pool of places where things can be. I'm not sure if we've seen mine either, or if mine is perhaps locked behind the Sun Coin, which we still don't have actually. So that's going to be somewhere, here hopefully soon for the runners, so they can get to the rest of the world.
I think the
Gonna need
mine
it.
was in Aquaria. They just didn't have a claw until they came out here.
Makes sense. Yeah, you can't really navigate the mine without that claw. Um, Hopefully they remember that's where it is. As it at this point, that's where I would be hoping to go get something in the freebie box, as opposed to here where Farfelu is on Mount Gale, or where Sorbius is in the tree. Neither of these places are on my top list of places I want to be in this game.
Nope, and that's exactly what I appreciate about the play both runners are making. They're both going for less than desirable bosses, and it is, well, it's bound to pay off for one of them, right? Like
You would hope, right? Fingers
Dillahan
crossed.
and yeah, Dillahan and Gidril aren't going to suck, right?
I mean, only one can really zonk, but there are a few items out there, yeah, still that the runners wouldn't want to receive. The tin can helmet is still out there, and that would be a sad reward to receive from either of these fights. Although, on Sorbius' side, this run is giving him, a number of shards as well. And as chat mentioned earlier, that meteor pickup, excellent burst, both versus both of these bosses. Excuse me. So the runners have good damage to bring to either of these fights.
Also, the Alive Forest freebie was Arrow, which would does it outpace Meteor against Gidra? Because Gidra is weak to air.
I'm not sure if it outpaces it. However, it does mean that you can not worry about seeding really. You use up your meteor cast, switch to arrow, or just use arrow through the whole fight. The arrow, you have a lot of charges on those spells since they're not the same tier. Just Quake,
Quake. Why
not
is Quake?
value.
Why is Quake so bad in almost every Final Fantasy?
So in this game, it's bad because it scales. I believe it's got to be based off of enemy level, or HP totals, one of the two. So The enemies that are going to use it against you potentially are going to do a lot of damage with it. Uh, if you've ever seen Hydra use Quake against you, it is more than you would expect that spell to do. But unfortunately for our characters, we only get so many levels in this game, and it just doesn't scale to our benefit. And our HP totals are nowhere near what they are for any of the bosses. So
Yeah, what's the highest level you finished one of these seeds at?
probably 22. On Probably not on purpose. That just happened because of required fights in a full clear, most likely. But I try to stay at the 20 range, because beyond 20, all you're getting is 40 HP a level, unless you want to go all the way to 24 for an extra charge, and I'm not sure that's something I will ever do.
Alright, the moment of truth. Was Gidra worth the effort? The shards say yes. What's the item say?
Right, at the very least, he'll walk away with the nice shards in his pocket that he won't have to go hunting for elsewhere. That is not
Thunder.
value. So,
We got some shards.
yes, shards at least, but unfortunately, both Gidra and Dullhand had no real value. Got to feel bad for both runners, making, like you said, very spicy, like heads up play. Like get rid of the gross bosses first. You have the tools to do it. The other runner probably less likely to do this than other checks out there. So if it pays off, it could pay off big.
Yeah, I think the tree was more of a my opponent probably won't do this play than Dullahan, just because Dullahan's, it's a quest for Phoebe. Getting Phoebe 4 is, icing on the cake, and sometimes, well, you need to ice a cake.
Definitely true. I mean, really, look at it right now. 1720 HP, more white casts than you know what to do with. So she's definitely, sitting pretty. And at this point, at level 16, I'd be comfy. 16 from the main character, if Phoebe's at 41, is an acceptable Dark King fight. So I wonder if that's something that was on Farfelu's mind. Just get this check out of the way regardless. Because, like you said, it is that Phoebe quest. It sets him up really well for the rest of the game, no matter where anything is. And if Go Mode rushes at him, still, he's more than prepared already. Sorb's making the same play, probably for similar reasons, right? Get that level 41 Phoebe.
Yeah, plays for safety are usually well advised.
Yeah, Dark King can roll some spicy abilities. So can the bosses on the way, really. You never know when you're going to run into somebody who just, instant deaths or stones your companions repeatedly, or, does just more damage than you really were anticipating every turn to either you or both you and your companion, and you just have to triage heavily. So many on-path enemies. At the upper part of this Pazuzu's tower, so some extra experience even for Farfelu.
Yeah, it's a shame they're kind of, the weaker Aquaria enemies, but
Definitely at this point you could handle, even if these were windy enemies, these wouldn't be terribly difficult encounters, so. Hey, floor 6 Pazuzu. You gotta love to see that, really. If you're going for Pazuzu, you just lock him in, talk to him right here. It does mean that Farfelu's gonna have to make the trek back down to pick up another key item chest if he wants to. But since he doesn't have exit right now, he's gonna have to make that trek sort of in a downward direction in the tower anyway. So why not just deal with the bird while you're here?
Oh, that was an instant death spell that hit Phoebe, wasn't it? I was about to comment an
That
attack for exact damage, but that's how the instant death spells work.
that is still rude to see. Put you on your back feet sometimes if one of your companions, especially the strong level 41 Phoebe, is suddenly erased from the battlefield.
Oh, and on his way out of Windia, Sorbius makes sure to pick up the Venus key. Or on its way out of Fireburg, he makes sure to pick up the Venus key in Windia, which farfelu hasn't done. It's, a minor thing, but if it ends up being necessary, he'll have saved some time.
Definitely, you never want to have to go back and forth to get something in this game because it definitely eats up a lot of the time of the seed overall. I feel like when you have to do the backtracking, it's one of the interesting things about the rando with the overworld shuffle is you never know what your path to get to anywhere is going to be, and it could be a trek to get between two required areas. Always hoping for some convenient crest access or just town placement. So far, this seed isn't terrible, but we do know that Foresta is locked behind that wake water, and they've had the tree wither and the elixir for a very long time at this point.
Oh, and, Crystal of Wind is a quest for Tristram. If you can get to Tristram 4, his flare will outpace Phoebe's white casts as far as damage.
That's very true. I wonder if that's something Farfalu's considering. You do only have the one crest right now, and you would need, potentially need the other two to
There's the
move
Sun
on.
Coin.
Very nice. I believe he already did the mind check, right? So oh, speaking of
And
quick
there's
go
Mega
mode,
Grenades. Wow. We just need Morbius Crest?
I believe, oh, and Captain's Cap. We have yet to see the cap either, so yeah, very, very close to go mode now, much closer than we were a few minutes ago. Cupid Locket, fantastic item to get.
I will never complain to receive a Cupid Locket, especially with a piece of Go mode already received from this Accursed Tower.
All the dungeons having a lot of shards, it seems. Not going to be probably struggling for shards by the end of this, but as Chad has pointed out, now that the runners have the Dragon Claw, the Mega Bombs, and the Sun Coin, or at least Farflu does, every check in the game is out there somewhere available to them, and the Thunder Rock and the Captain's Cap can be. Oh yes, the Thunder Rock as
Oh!
well, and the Mobius Crest can be anywhere.
Well, the Mobius Crest is behind
The
the
multi
multi
key. What a
key.
funny place for that to be, holding, the secret teleporter that's in his back room. It's very interesting. The runners received a lot of things they couldn't use right away, very early. So remembering where these fetch quest items are on the overworld, what they have and have not done, it's definitely going to be interesting to see as they continue to make their way through the seed. We're already seeing some back and forth of places, and I wonder, how much longer it's going to be before these remaining items, which can hide away pretty much anywhere, rear their heads.
Yeah, the worst of it tends to be when the world is just open to you.
I agree. Decision paralysis plus just having no direction provided by the seed at this point. There's nothing that they can't do if they can get there, and that can be, a lot to pick from. To have all of Lava Dome available to them, that's, 3 checks, maybe more shards.
Okay, knowing how much we all hate the bird, do you think Sorbius is going to go for Pazuzu kill right here? It's
I
available. He's got the power for it.
I think based on the fact that Pazuzu's floor 6, and based on the fact that he's not going to get the only progression any progression really other than those megas here, if he decides to go down for the second chest, I think he will stay and commit to the bird. Oh, megas were in the first chest. All right, so let's see. Yeah, decision time. Ooh, Flavadome wasn't even accessible until they had that Sun Coin. So that's fantastic. There's a lot to do over here in this windier region, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, it looks like Sorbs locked Pazuzu in place, but hasn't fought him yet. Probably checking the 4 freebie.
I agree with that play. If it is Sun Coin, at that point I would maybe leave. Like you mentioned earlier, though, it is a Tristram quest. Maybe that's something he's considering as well. Tristram 4, pretty strong. Doesn't bring the utility that Phoebe does, but Flare out damages her white on Dark King. So
Yeah, and generally speaking, when you enter a dungeon, you should kill the boss if you can. It's a bit of a risky play to leave, to orphan checks, especially checks that uh, would take longer if you come back to them later.
definitely, and in this seed, they've had power for a while. Their Phoebe's already 41 coming in here. There's definitely no real good reason to leave the boss behind. You have all the tools you need to hopefully take it on, provided it doesn't roll, just absolutely atrocious abilities.
Yeah, it looks like an ever too accurate corrode gas is all Pazuzu's really latching on to.
Well, definitely a good thing they have that life from earlier then, so they can not worry at least about the fight just being over once the companion goes down.
The Steel Shield is an appropriate item from a level Forest freebie. It's not one you wanted to see, but, it's free. It's supposed to
I
be an item from the tutorial.
I don't even know. Maybe is that vanilla? Maybe that's what you get there in vanilla. It would seem vanilla appropriate to me.
I thought you got the Tree Wither there in vanilla.
That would also make sense. There you go. Chat confirming. It is in fact a tree wither there. So yeah, not the steel can. But that for someone with minimal vanilla knowledge, I would expect something, yeah, like that steel shield to be there. It looks like farfelu got both the steel shield and the steel helm recently. I'm sure he's loving that.
Huge crit. Why cast white when you can just crit? I mean, he had a reason not to cast white because the psych shield was up, but it feels nice to not miss out on any damage from a companion when you can't cast their spell. Why are you casting corrode gas, bro?
Jerkbird's got to live up to his name at least some of the time. He's got to try. He's got to at least fake the effort.
Oh, and it looks like that battle tile was the captain's cap. We still need Thunder Rock, correct?
That is correct. It looks like Thunder Rock is now all that Farfelu is missing for Go mode. Lava Dome with Windia enemies. It's a good thing they have the power because, as we just saw, yeah, these things are going to take more than one spell to clear out, and there's a potential for a lot of enemies on path here in Lava Dome. On the plus side, going to leave Lava Dome, unless Gomo's right here with some extra levels. that nobody's going to be sad about taking into Dark King, probably.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, just looks like the seed's kind of a straight line. Just fight the things that you don't want to fight, and do the rest.
That's what you've got to love, right? When the seed tells you to go to all those places you generally try to avoid, but based on what the seed's giving you sometimes, that's really what it expects out of you.
Uh, that the first Mega Bomb chest, the one on the right, that's the Vanilla Life version, right?
I don't know the answer to that question. Yes? Yes, it is our tracker helping confirm that the box on the right, Vanilla Life. Thank you very much. The mirror, useless at this point, but ninjas, if you're gonna have to fight a forced encounter, make it ninjas. The most experience for your buck, really. I don't expect at this point Farfelu's gonna leave Lava Dome below level 20, probably, unless somehow there are just no more enemies on path. Sorb's done with the Jerkbird, done with the Jerkbird's tower. Moving on to the Sun Coin area where he'll find the good news that there are several Go Mode items pretty quickly available, and then yet more decisions to make.
What do they have other than Hydra?
So, Medusa, I don't know if we've seen Medusa been taken down yet, but that might actually be it. However, they do have like so much behind the wake water that I would not be surprised if Hydra gives the wake water and forces them to go and do a whole bunch of other things rather than being a direct, give the Thunder Rock at this point. I guess, yeah. Unless that wake water is behind the Medusa or any other check that I may be forgetting that they have not completed. Looks like Farflu's still trying to shore up their shard count. I'm not sure what he's at, but you've got to expect he's probably pretty close by now. As many as we've seen, he could have even just be grabbing extras along the way if he is not keeping strict count. I know that's something I sometimes do. Grab one or two extra boxes just in case I miscounted.
Yeah, I also need to get better at counting my shards. I'm constantly like double checking my menu for how many I actually have.
I really enjoy when there's a quest for a certain number of shards that is below 24 so that I can get a sort of mid-seed reminder of how many I have and can start counting from there. But this seed offered the runners no such convenience. Alright, Hydra time. So far, Hydra's not putting up too much of a fight. Nope. Confusion, though. Things could change very quickly with confusion on the table.
All right, and farfelu cleaning up the Hydra as Sorbius enters the lava dome.
Definitely a pretty chill Hydra fight, all things considered. I mean, you gotta hope at level 20 with the level 41 companion that it doesn't put up too much of a struggle. Otherwise, that would be a little extra scary, perhaps.
And it's Medusa.
Interesting. All right, so Apollo Helm, the best helmet in the game, uh, but not the item they were looking for. It does open up one tile on the overworld map, which farfelu just briefly scanned, but I didn't see if it was a blue tile or not. I don't believe it was, so I think we are just down to Medusa.
Yeah, it looks like that is the case since he is just gunning Medusa coming up the volcano.
I've run a number of these seeds practicing in the tournament, and I really feel like, and maybe this is just confirmation bias, but if there's an area in Foresta region, uh, it's it's very likely to hold value. And again, it's probably just confirmation bias, but we see it here. This Medusa hiding away back at the starting area, easily forgotten about, which has happened to me. I can't even tell you how many times. Looks like it is holding required progression of some sort.
Yeah, there are plenty of, one-off checks or areas with bosses that you, especially when it's something in the opening area, like volcano in the opening area, which happens a lot, um, where you grab the freebie from the area and then kind of slips your mind until you need to go back and actually do it.
Exactly right. You've already been in there once, hoping to hopefully, never go back again, and you may not have been here in, half an hour or more in the case of these runners. When was the last time they really needed to take a walk through the starting area?
I don't think they have since they left it. It's been like 40 minutes.
And it is the Wake Water, which is going to open up the path to, as we know for sure, Foresta, which they immediately have the Tree Wither Elixir combo to turn in. The nice thing in this case is, since Lava Dome has already been completed for both runners, they can, complete it from either side. I'm not sure, I don't remember where Aquaria was, but if Aquaria happened to be in the Fireberg region, you could open it up over there and then walk through the tile that you opened from Lava Dome. So.
I do think Aquaria was in Aquaria. Big shocker, I know.
Convenient, at least. You're here. We know Foresta's right there up in front, so probably be the first thing to check. They've got a freebie there plus 2 additional fetch quest items. I'm
Yeah, I
not
don't.
sure I would take the trip down to Spencer's basement here.
No. I mean, you've got the Venus key at this point.
You do, but you're looking for Thunder Rock, and I just feel, I mean, this would be a trolley location for it to be. But knowing what else is out there and what I just unlocked, my hope would be that it would be on the other side of all those checks. But, why leave it behind? I could definitely understand that play as well.
And you save, so it's a save scum.
For sure, reset worthy. Unfortunately, sad to see the Excalibur get, trashed. He could pick it up before going on to Dark King if he wants, since we know that you'll have to hit up Spencer's Cave up north, or in the North Windia area. So, but not that rock. That's all we need right now is the Thunder Rock to create a rainbow bridge so we can free a ship with bombs, and then get on the ship and take it to the final boss. Looks like it's behind Foresta.
It'd be very funny when it's like just in the freebie, and he took a few extra steps to try and avoid checking the freebie. Oh, he's going to the tree. Does
He's
he still need
going
shards?
to the tree instead of checking the forested checks. Maybe, yeah, maybe there's still shards on the table. Maybe he just thinks that this is the better, option here at this point. They have been sitting on that tree wither elixir for the entire game, so maybe it's just not, close enough to the front of his mind, and this is the thing that he was thinking about. I definitely could understand how, you focus on a check that if this isn't what I need, I'm going to do this next. So, oh, deciding he would rather not be in the tree. It is a silly place. Ah, very smart. Yes, as chat's pointing out, left to save in the tree, and now is coming to Foresta. Now, that's a very heads up play. Definitely not one clearly I would have thought to make. Save scumming is a very useful way to make up time, traveling back and forth in these seeds.
Yeah, and it turns out that tree wither we got right at the beginning of the game, it's gonna be required.
It is indeed. Now we just have to find level forest, which I certainly don't remember
It's
where it is at this point.
it's in the Windia area. Had the steel shield.
Oh, lovely. So no matter what, there's no quick trek there. So we're gonna see the walk there and back. And if it's not the Thunder Rock, we still need to send Kaylee on to Windia.
Yep, and in the meantime, Sorbius has cleared out the Hydra, put it to rest, double checking that he didn't open up a blue tile, and it's Medusa time.
It is time for Medusa. Good that he remembered that this was on the table. I mean, you've got one thing left in Logic to check, and there are a number of checks available throughout the course of this game. So it's wonderful that, neither runner forgot sort of what was left out there and had to sit and poke around the map, because that can take some time.
Also, it was cure from, or is that cure or heal?
I
It
think
was
that's heal. Yes, that spell picked up as heal. So that's fantastic. The elixir chain fully required. Pretty much a full dip seed here. We're gonna get to see from both runners because of how the logic panned out.
and just in case you needed it, a shard by Kaylee's bed.
Now Farblue's got to be hoping that this is the payoff and that they don't have to reset all the way back to their tree check. I mean, it won't be bad. Because they're right nearby. But yeah, luckily, as we know, since we've seen everything else in the game, the Thunder Rock.
Yeah,
Sorbius
and
making quick work of Medusa there.
yeah, blink and she's gone. She knows what she did though, and I don't blame Sorbius one bit.
No, not at all. I mean, she was there holding this very required item for the entire game. They came to her mountain early to get the freebie.
So farfelu just did the equivalent of like a loot bonk in FF1. He tried to go to the ship without having launched the ship. Feels bad.
I may or may not have done that many, many times to the point where I even created a meme for it for a friend's Discord. So, yes, it is very easy to do, especially when Thunder Rock is your go mode item, I feel like. Because at that point, you've done everything else in the game. Surely I don't need to go all the way over here and launch this boat first. But nope, you do. It does provide him, a chance to re-pick up that Excalibur if he wants and hit up maybe the Mobius crest check. Although at this point, I don't know what he'd be looking for. We've got all the important items sort of out of the way, outside of maybe that Excalibur for a little bit of speed.
Oh, and Sorbius didn't take the save scum for this. And save, like, this is a game where resetting just feels terrible because you have to sit through most of the opening cutscene every time. And it's hard to have, like, and because it's so long, it's hard to have that quick, how far do I have to go for a save scum to be worth my time?
It's definitely no Final Fantasy One randomizer, but compared to something, say, like the Final Fantasy VI randomizers reset times, I'll definitely take Mystic Quest resetting for save skill purposes.
Yeah, and the thing about, like, Mystic Quest is the save menu is also well responsive. You like it. The game is very clear when it tells you that you have in fact saved the game, and you are good to turn off your console and turn it back on and
Yes,
confuse
it's a
and if
very
the game and if,
satisfying ding. The ship with the Zonk, not even going to pick it up. Doom Castle has a box that we won't see. I don't know what it could be at this point. There's probably a spell missing. Yes, it looks like, was that Arrow
no,
missing?
Arrow was for
Oh,
free in a live forest, and Farfelu reset out of it because he wasn't wanting to do tree at the time.
that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, Sword's heading to Minotaur soon. He'll get the news he's got to do the full chain in order to find that Thunder Rock. Really, considering how much of the seed either both of these runners have done, we're still looking at pretty good times. Just approaching the 105 mark now on a full clear seed. Not terrible. Not terrible at
Yeah,
all.
like I mentioned this on a race earlier today. Even with these flags, even the slogs are relatively quick, like 80, 90 minutes on the high end.
Definitely. One of the things I enjoy about the randomizer really is the speed at which most seed settings can take to complete. Just because you're looking at a limited number of locations, limited number of items required for Go mode compared to some of the other randomizers out there. But it really makes for a very fun, randomizer experience. I feel like, and definitely one that hits a lot of those notes. I know for me, nostalgia notes as well as puzzle notes.
So Sorbius forgot to use the elixir before checking the when you in. That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, you wish you would just go there, but nope. We've got to feed her some medicine first before she's well enough to head over to Windia. At least he's got exit to save a little bit of time here, jaunting around.
Yeah, and the overworld movements is pretty quick. I think that like really adds a lot to how quick the randomizer is. It's just that it's very snappy on taking you where you need to go.
I
And
love this boss sprite.
yeah, this is a great boss fight. And Blinken, we missed it. This is he's already into phase 3 of Dark King. It looks like there hasn't been anything particularly nasty, which you've got 1700 hit points on Phoebe. You've got White and Flare. You can just for large portions of this fight just all day.
Yep, you can just send it. You've got a lot of power under your belt, all the resist you could possibly have at this point, and plenty of levels to boot. It does look like he's trying the Dark King at least, dishing out some damage, but unfortunately, it's not quite the numbers that are going to cause a real struggle here. It's Halloween time, phase 4 now on Farfelu's side. Pumpkin has only a few hits left, most likely.
And with that red flash, we have it. Farfelu has finished, winning with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 43 seconds. I suppose we'll be seeing if he wants to join us for an interview. Nice to ask him how he feels about the seed.
Definitely.
And we are joined by Farfelu. GG.
GG.
Good evening, thanks.
What did you think of that one? Definitely an interesting full clear with that tree wither elixir combo sitting in your inventory for most of the seed.
Yeah, and I almost forgot about Foresta at the end of the game. I think I was getting tired. I did so many mistakes at the end. I was feeling pretty bad about that.
It's definitely understandable, I think. These seeds, especially with the number of just locations you've got to kind of keep in medium-term memory over the course of this. And Foresta, plus, Foresta not having been somewhere available for the entire seed and the items you needed for it sitting in your inventory the entire seed, definitely kind of a strange situation where the things you needed to use weren't usable for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the zone of Windia that I've been there, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 times. So at the end, I was just thinking, well, okay, it's done. I can go in the ship. Whoops. I think I forgot something. But yeah, I think at that point I was just tired. But the scene was actually interesting. I don't know how Sorbius handled the beginning, if he fought Rex with Phoebe, Tristam, or if he leveled up before. But with the battlefield with over 2000 XP, it was pretty easy to get at level 7 or 8, something like that for the fight. So, well, I don't like that I wiped 2 times before that, but at least the fight went well after.
Definitely. Sorbius did take that battle tile and went into Flamerus, with a little bit more levels than you even finished the fight with, and was able to make a little bit easier work of it than you were. We saw Flamerus, not usually a boss that gives you the business, but he definitely started this seed out a little spicy.
Yeah, I don't like to farm level, especially in the position I was, because I knew that I'm not sure how to explain how the double XP battlefield works, but I knew that the next fight, actually, it's because I had enough experience to maybe gain 5 or 6 level uh, in one shot, but the game doesn't allow that, so I had to do more fight, and every fight I gain 1 level. But you will get more fights on the way just by playing the game. So I didn't like wasting time just killing those weak enemy at the beginning, but I'm pretty sure it was really worth it.
It definitely, saved some time early, but like you said, and as we saw, you both ended up at level 21 because of how much was required, and that lava dome in Windia, or in the Windia area, having high tier enemies on path and required all the way through was, well, not required, I guess, but definitely visited by both was definitely an experience. and flooded you all with levels. At least you had no worries going into the final fight as far as preparation went.
Yeah, definitely. I think the highest level I was before was 16, maybe 17. So yeah, 21 was really a walk in the park. Dark King was not too bad as well. And Phoebe level 41. Uh, I did not expect having much trouble in that fight.
Definitely, you would hope not. I've seen some rude ones even at those high levels, but right, with all the resist gear, the spell charges, maxed out companion, and even an extra level on top of 20, you hope it's going to be smooth sailing, and it was pretty smooth.
Yeah. Oh, and I see Sorbius also took the random sprite. That's a funny one. I never saw that one before.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Yeah, we pointed out on stream. It's one of the ones I've enjoyed seeing before, although not one that comes up very often, I think. Do you have any questions, Scar?
No, I think you handled what I was gonna ask about. You know, it's a full clear seed. It's even when the full seed, even a full clear seed like this can be pretty exhausting, can it?
Yeah, especially with the randomizer and trends. It could be worse. I think we have the easiest level of map randomization. We don't randomize what's inside each tile on the map. But even if you add this, it's a minor change compared to the vanilla map. But I don't know, it changed a lot in the gameplay and how just it adds so many things to think. And yeah, definitely change the routing and how to handle things.
Definitely, it's a lot to juggle. It's one of the reasons that I'm really enjoying this tournament so far. It takes all the aspects of the sort of a vanilla path Mystic Quest Rando or vanilla setting Mystic Quest Rando and spices almost every one of them up in some way, and I really enjoy that. Looks like we're not going to have an interview from Sorbius tonight, so it will just be us to finish this out. I do have one follow-up question. How do you feel about your time overall, really, considering it is, a seed where you had to do everything? We saw, it was just a little over an hour, 107 and change.
Um, I'm not sure. I feel good, but a bit bad as well, just because of the mistake, especially at the end. It's a full clear, but I think my time should be a bit lower because just because of how we had all the resistance, all the safeties in the world, the best partner very early. So even a full clear, I think, can be at the 1 hour mark, maybe even under. But yeah, when you can skip Dalahan, Lavadome, and all that stuff, I'm sure we will see a lot of sub-hour times in this tournament.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that. You can luck out in those seeds where you get to skip all the stuff you don't want to do and just go mode is sort of presented to you. Shards can still potentially be tricky, but with a good layout there, even yeah, we've already seen one sub-hour time I know over the course of the tournament so far, and yeah, I do expect to see several more as it goes on.
Yeah, at least the shard hunt, you can just go where the density is, and you can skip a lot of checks since there are 40 shards. But that go mode we had tonight actually was the worst. Thunder Rock and Cap can be literally anywhere, except the rock cannot be in the ship, but that's pretty much it. So, yeah, when you get the Claw this early, it probably means you have to do Hydra or at least Pazuzu Tower. Um, so that's probably something you want to see later in the game, Claw and earlier Cap.
Definitely. I'm a Dragon Claw last person myself. If I can get that last, that is my preferred last item for kill mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all right. I think that's gonna do it for us tonight here on this run. Thank you very much. Excellent run. You've got that was match 1 of 2. You've got another match up against Sorbius. Do you know if when that's scheduled? If that's scheduled?
Yeah, it's Wednesday, 8 or I think it's 9 p.m. But yeah, it's scheduled on Wednesday. And if we have race 3, it will be on Friday.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to getting to watch another wonderful run. Hopefully, the seed will be less full clear required for you next time.
That would be appreciated. Thank you, the team for the stream. I don't see who is on. Actually, yes, I can see it's Car and Fried Potato. Thank you being there and the tracker, Ortia. So yes, see you next race.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you very much. Have a wonderful time. Yes, thank you, Scar, for joining me in the booth tonight. This was a fun race to commentate. Thank you, Nutmeg and Artea, for helping out tracking. Thank you, Wildham, for handling behind the scenes in many, many ways for this tonight. Appreciate that for sure. And that's it for me.
Yeah, just thanks Potato for joining me on comms and saving me from solo comms. I don't know if I could have handled it without you. Have a good night, y'all.